Hey guys, my name is Michael Ward. I'm the co-founder and chief clinical officer of NLTRT, and I wanted to take a second to talk about this guy right here, which you probably got in the mail and is why you're watching the video, right? You probably scanned this little code so you can get instructions on how to make this thing work, okay? Well, as you know, when you open this thing up, it's full of stuff, right? Well, let's go through the contents and then we'll go through kind of instructions on how to do this one step at a time. So it's so easy for you, you'll become a pro and you won't have any, some people get really nervous whenever they're dealing with needles already. Injecting themselves, it's easy to make little tiny mistakes and we don't want to create a situation where you might have an infection or get an abscess or something like that, all right? Which can happen. But it's not going to happen because we're going to take our time and we're going to do it right. All right. So the first thing, let's go through the box. Okay. As you open the box, you'll notice there is tons and tons of stuff in here. Okay. Right on the top, obviously the testosterone. In one of your vials of testosterone, you're going to have 200 milligrams per 1 milliliter. There's 1 milliliter in this little vial of fluid. And that 1 milliliter contains 200 milligrams of testosterone. Now, you're not going to need 200 milligrams of testosterone. You may only need 100 milligrams of testosterone. A lot of people only need about 120 milligrams, maybe up to 150 milligrams. So we'll talk about how that converts to the milliliters in just a second, okay? But you have your testosterone, all right? You also have these little syringes, right? This is a 1 milliliter syringe. And this milliliter syringe has lines on it, okay? And those lines, you'll see 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, all the way to 1 full milliliter, okay? And I'll show you how that works in a second. You'll also see two different types of needles, right? So you have a 25 gauge needle, this guy, 25 gauge, you see that? And then you have a 21 gauge needle. The 21 gauge needle is to draw up the medication. The 25 gauge needle is to inject. The higher the number, the smaller the needle. All right, just remember that. Higher the number, smaller the needle. 21 gauge is, like I said, going to be used to draw up the medication. So let's make that happen. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open this guy here. This is an alcohol prep pad, and you'll see a ton of these in there, right? This is alcohol. And so whenever you open up your testosterone, you're going to pull the vial out of the box. You're going to pop the lid off the top of it, and you're going to take this, and you're going to rub the top of the vial, okay? That is going to cause your vial to be very sterile, very clean. This is alcohol, right? Keep this close because you're going to use this same alcohol pad to wipe your leg later when you inject, okay? So next thing you're going to do is we're going to open the syringe. This is easy. Whenever I first opened these syringes, when I first got started, I was like, you got to pull them together. You don't have to do that. Just push it through the paper. Piece of cake. Now you have it. Don't ever touch this part of the syringe and never touch that part of the needle because we want to maintain sterility. See that part of the needle? You never touch that. You never touch this. You put it on just like that and twist until it gets a little tight. You know it's formed a seal. So let's just say that you're getting 100 milligrams of testosterone, all right? Well, there's 200 milligrams per vial, so you just need half of that vial. So if it's 1 milliliter per vial, you only need 0.5 milliliters. And that just happens to be right there, 0.5 milliliters. Now, when you pull the plunger back to withdraw the testosterone, you don't want to count using this part right here, this stem. Okay, the stem is not what matters. It's this line right here. That is where you measure correctly. So 0.5 would be the very tip of that plunger on the 0.5 line, which would be right there. Can you see that? All right. So now we got it 0.5. So you have it pulled down to 0.5. That's 100 milligrams. We're going to take the cap off the needle, and we're going to inject the air from the syringe into the vial. And the reason we do that is because whenever you go to pull the liquid, the testosterone, out without injecting air, you're creating a negative pressure inside the vial, and it's difficult to pull out that fluid. So you inject the air that's equivalent to the dose that you're going to be injecting into yourself, 0.5. Now you turn it upside down, and you keep the needle in there, and then you withdraw all of it. You pull the plunger all the way back so you know that there's no bubbles, right? And now you inject all that back in there except for the 0.5, which is right there. Okay? And now you pull this. Okay? So now you have 0.5 milliliters of testosterone in this syringe, which translates to 100 milligrams of testosterone. So now we're going to close the safety cap, and now we can pull the needle off. Now we're going to open the 25 gauge needle. Just like we did before, avoiding contact with this area. Then we're going to place the syringe on the needle. And now we're good to inject. But remember that alcohol pad? Now we made sure to place plenty of alcohol pads in there. So if this is dried out for some reason, just open another alcohol pad. Okay, and you'll locate a space on your right leg, somewhere that's really fleshy or fatty, all right? Because you want to inject this into sub-Q tissue. Sub-Q means adipose tissue means fat, all right? So you find an area on your thigh that has a lot of fat, all right? You take your alcohol prep pad and you wipe that space, and then you're sterile. You pull this, and you don't have to inject this whole needle, all right? Just enough of the needle that goes into the fat, and then you just do this, okay? So you take your left hand, grab the area that you've wiped, don't touch it with your hand, and then you just inject into that little area, and then you just spray inject the medication into the leg. Then you pull it out, and then you cap the syringe like that. And then you're done. You can take it apart like this, or you can keep it like this. But I would highly encourage you guys just to throw your used syringes back into this box. Or if you have, if you go to your pharmacy, you can actually get a sharps container, and you can throw all that in there. Or you can just take the needles off and throw them in a I don't know, like a milk jug or something, plastic that they're not going to poke through. Although you've closed the cap, it's just always a double layer protection just to throw it in something that's not going to penetrate easily, right? And then you can throw everything else away, and then you just do it all again in 7 days, all right? So that's it. It's really not hard. And the more you do it, the more comfortable that you'll be with it. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always reach out to us, nextleveltrt.com, or you can find us on Facebook, nextleveltrt, on our facebook.com/nextleveltrt. Anyway, thanks a lot. You take care, and I wish you the very best. And in health, thank you very much. Good night.